As Christina introduced me, my name's Jake Skarin. You can remember Skarin because you're going to be watching your choirs on the screen, virtually on the screen. Makes sense? I'm actually the virtual choir coordinator for Desert Spring United Methodist Church. This is my email. I wrote it down right here, musicnotes@desertspringchurch.com. You guys are welcome to email me with any questions anytime you guys have questions. When I'm not doing virtual choirs for church, I'm actually a flight attendant. So I'm just telling you this because really anybody can make these videos. If you have time to sit at a computer, you have time to sit down and make these videos. If you guys have any questions throughout this little presentation, we will try to utilize the chat feature, if I can find it again. And then at the end, we'll have time to answer questions that you guys may have. So back into this. Virtual Choir 101, getting our members singing again together, but separate. Here's just a little demo of what we have done so far. And this is what you guys will be able to create. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Together, different ways. I will give my life to them. Shall I say? So some of the things I want to point out before we go on is it's really great to see into, our choir members' lives at home. When we're singing at church, everyone's up on stage. We don't really get to see that behind the scenes stuff at home. Like you saw the mom with her baby, or the other funny story was the one with the solo. She's our pastor's wife. Pastor didn't know that she was going to be singing her solo. So she was trying to do it all sneaky. Like she forgot to take the film off of her camera. So that's why she looked really blurry. She didn't realize it until after then when one of her kids pointed it out. So now let's talk about the process of how, I got those videos to that point. And eventually by the end of today, I'm actually going to make a video with you guys so that you can see the whole process from the beginning. What you got to do first, of course, pick your music, check your licensing, and you got to set up the song. So for today, we're going to use Amazing Grace, and we're just going to look at verse 1, just so it's timely wise, and we'll get out of here within an hour. The next step is you're going to get the accompaniment. We have a great pianist at our church. She's the pianist for the Las Vegas Philharmonic. So what I do is I email him and I say, hey, Voltaire, I want Amazing Grace. I would like an intro and I would like verse 1. So then once he gets that, he'll send it back to me, and this is what he sends me. Listen to a little bit of it. So he gives me pretty much whatever I asked for, the intro plus verse 1. So there's the intro, then he goes into the song. So then what I do with that is you send it to the singers. So I send that accompaniment that Voltaire did for me, and I send the music and the instructions. As I just want verse 1, or for this one, I said, please sing the melody for the first 7 bars, and then switch it up to parts for the last part. That way you guys can see parts and all that different stuff too. So when you send it to the singers, you also got to tell them how. How recording at home is kind of difficult sometimes. The majority of our singers never recorded from home. They've never done a virtual choir at all. So we had to basically start from the very beginning. So we made them this cute little video to show them how to record at home and how simple it is to record at home. You guys are welcome to use this video in the future too. It's just on my YouTube page.
It's the Jake and Jody Show!
Hi everyone, it's Jody. I'm here to show you how you can record yourself at home. This is my setup, just showing you little examples. So don't laugh. I had to put it up because I'm short, and you'll run into other difficulties such as this. If you have pets, you'll understand. So what you do is, we record off of our iPhones. It's super easy. You record sideways. Remember, sideways. I bought this little device here off of Amazon for $20. And see, I've used beautiful books to hold it in place. You don't
So
need...
I'm not going to make you watch the whole 4.5-minute video, but the other way that we record, I'll show the way that I record.
Of recording, the way sideways though, not up and down. Make sure that it's sideways. You can just prop it up however you want so that it can see you. Make sure you have enough room on each side so that I can have enough room to crop you. And make sure that it comes almost all the way down to your belly button and then just a little bit above your head. That way that I can crop you in and fit you in with the rest of the choir.
So that video, it goes into tell them the best ways to record that make it easier for us to put the videos together. We have found with the phones, it's easier to record sideways than up and down. When you record up and down, for some reason, the video is only that. And so when you go in to crop it to match the other videos, all of a sudden you're so zoomed in on their face that you can see all the blemishes and everything. So it's easier to record sideways. When they send you, here we go back to that. When they send you the videos, this is what it will sound like, because when they record, they're hearing the accompaniment in their ears. They're not singing to the accompaniment out loud like karaoke. They're only hearing the accompaniment in their ears. So when they record, all that you will hear, let's see if I can get Jody to sing it for us. All that you will hear is their voice. So remember the accompaniment that we had.
Amazing grace, how sweet.
So all you hear is the voice. You don't hear the accompaniment at all, because we're going to put that together. Now, let's start putting it together. So I made just a little quick list. It's not in this order. You'll find your ways to, make it easier for you when you're putting these together. You're going to add the accompaniment, you're going to add background, you're going to add the title because you want to know people to know what you're singing. You're going to add the videos, you're going to edit it like crazy. You're going to edit transitions. You're going to listen to it probably 100 million times. My partner gets mad and he's like, "Are we done with Precious Lord yet?" Or, "I have to listen to that song again." You listen to it about 100 million times. So now let's actually do it. Let's actually go into Final Cut Pro, and we're going to start at the very beginning. So what you do first, you're going to create a new project. And, oh no, I can't see the top of it because of the screen sharing thing. Hold on one second. All right, so we're going to name the project Amazing Grace. Don't worry about any of these things right here. It sets it up for what's best for your laptop and for what's best for uploading purposes. If you have ideas on maybe like what the video or the rendering should be, I'm open to suggestions too. So let me know of those. So here is our video. We start with a completely blank screen, excuse me. Move that out of the way. So this is what you'll see at first. What you're going to do, you're going to go up to this little arrow. And this is where you're going to import all of the videos. So I have already made, where did I put it? That one. I went past it, didn't I? All right, so Amazing Grace. So we're going into Amazing Grace. And we're going to pull out the accompaniment that Voltaire sent. So we're going to import that one first. So when you import it, you'll have to forgive me because it comes in by when it was sent to you. So this was sent to me a while back. So I got to scroll down and find where we just imported it. All right, so there's the Amazing Grace accompaniment. You'll click on that. It's already imported into Final Cut Pro now. And you'll just drag it right onto your editing screen right here. So there's the accompaniment. Boom, that's done. Now we'll go back into the importing and we're going to import the videos. So I've got Mike, Taylor, and Jody. I'm going to import those 3 videos. Find those. All right, here we go. So we'll start with Jody since you already heard her voice. So what we're going to do is we have to line it up with the accompaniment now. So the best way to do it, or the best way that I've found to do it, is I'm going to take my blade, which is if you just push B on your keypad, it will take your blade. We're going to cut the beginning of her because we don't need to see her until she starts singing. The A on your keypad is back to your selector. Here's all the different tools that you have. I usually use A and I use B to do my editing. So I'm just going to delete that beginning part. So when we listen to the accompaniment, you know that's the intro. Then this should be Amazing Grace. So we know we can start her right there on that. And then this is where you're going to start lining it up. So you're going to listen to it 100 times to make sure you've got it lined up right with it. So she's a little bit early. So we'll pull her back.
Amazing grace.
Still a little early.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
All right, so we got Jody on there. We'll add Taylor next. And you just throw the videos right on top of each other. And I'll show you how to spread them out once we get once we get everyone lined up. So again, I use my blade tool to cut the beginning of it. Delete that. Line her up with Jody. So there's different ways that you can do this. I found it easier when I'm adding multiple layers to actually, what word do I want to use? Basically hide most of the videos. So since I already added Jody, I know she's lined up. I don't need to see hers anymore. So I'm going to use V. The V on the keypad hides her video. So now I can go back and I'm just looking for Taylor's video to line her up. So I'm pretty close. I'm going to move her back a little bit. So then you can bring Jody back in by pushing V again and make sure that they sound good together. So they lined up pretty well. Now we got to find the third video. Mike, there he is. And we'll do the same thing. So I'm going to hide Jody and Taylor. So if you see where my arrow is pointing, I didn't say this the first time. I did forget. I'm sorry, guys. This, you can see the sound bar below his video. That's a way that you can tell where they're going to start singing. So I'm going to use my blade tool again. I know that he's going to start singing right there. So I cut right before he starts singing and then just delete that beginning part because we don't need to see him standing there waiting to sing. So then we'll line him up. So here's a good example of, he is obviously quieter than the other 2 singers. So now we'll be able to edit the sound a little bit. If you go up to this part where my arrow is, it has all of the volume stuff. So you can turn them down or you can turn them up. We're going to turn him up just a little bit. What other features Final Cut Pro offers is, so this video actually worked out really well for Mike. It does automatic detections for the audio when you pull it in. A lot of times you'll hear background noise in the videos that you get, like fans or the dishwasher running. And you can actually remove those sounds with Final Cut Pro using the noise removal. And it somehow magically works that it just removes that extra sound that's not the voice. So this one said it was okay. It didn't need it. We'll bring Taylor back in. A lot of times when you're working with sopranos too, so this one had a problem with the noise in the background. So if we click on that, we can actually remove the noise in the background. It lets you click on that. It lets you decide if you want the noise or not. The problem with sopranos sometimes is, their voices get very hummy when they're recording into the phones and stuff. Final Cut Pro allows you to remove that hum as well. It kind of just changes the frequency of it so that it doesn't sound like it's humming. So now that we got all 3 videos put in,
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
so like I know now that, well, we'll get to the parts later. So let me show you how to separate them. So we're going up here. You see where my little arrow is? You're going to click on the film. Then what we're going to do is we're going to actually make these videos smaller. So we're going to scale them down. Since I only have 3 videos, I'm just going to make them, I'm going to put them right next to each other. So we're going to cut them down to 50%. We'll cut each of them down. 50, 50, 50. All right, so now they're all in the same spot. So then you're going to go to position. And this is where your math skills get to click in. I know that it's 700 for one way and 700 the other way. And I think it was 400 up. It had been 250. Yeah, it's 250. So you just play around with where you want to position the videos. So we'll put Michael there. Then I know that I want someone opposite Michael, so we'll do plus 450. And we'll just leave Jody right in the middle. Oh, wrong way. My bad. So Y is up, or X is up. I'm sorry, X is side to side, Y is up and down. So we're gonna move Jody down 250. And that brings them all onto the screen. We'll move her down just a little more. So you really just play with where you want to position the videos. You can make the videos bigger, you can make the videos smaller. What you can also do, so we'll dive into this song a little more. We'll go over to when they sing the chorus. So this is when they're singing parts. So I know it starts right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut these so that I can play with the beginning part a little more. So what you can do with the beginning part now, since they're all singing melody at the beginning, we can make it so that it's 3 different solos. So we'll start with Jody singing Amazing Grace. So we'll stop her right there. You're going to use your blade tool again. I'm going to go all the way up with the blade tool. Then we want just Jody singing that part, so you just delete the other guys. They're already lined up, so it's not going to affect what is later on. Then we'll have Taylor sing the second line.
Amazing grace, how sweet.
So you can go back, now that we have all the videos lined up for later, you can go back and put this back at 100% so that she's full screen. Same for Taylor. Make sure she's center.
The sound that's
So now between the 2 videos, you're going to want to do some kind of transition, because if you just saw it, it kind of just snapped right over to the other video. It's not as pretty. So I always use cross dissolve because it's just easiest. You just throw it right onto both videos. So now, even from the very beginning, Jody will fade in instead of just popping right up. So you also have to give it time to render. If you look at this circle right up here on the top left screen, you see how the pie is starting to fill in. That's basically the computer rendering the videos all together, making sure it's all lined up how you had it lined up. Before you upload videos, you always have to let it render. And that's why sometimes when you're checking them, it doesn't look like what it's going to look like in the very end. All right, so we'll go back to this part now. We got all three of them singing. So Jody's a little loud, so we'll bring her down. That way we can blend them. So we want a little bit more melody, so we'll bring Taylor up a little bit. And you guys can play with these sounds, like if you want more soprano sound, you want more tenor, you want more of one person than another, you have all that control. All right, let's talk about backgrounds. So up here on the top left again, you have your titles and your backgrounds. So we're just gonna go for a general background. I usually use, where'd it go? I usually use like something that moves, like the coverage one moves when you're recording, the float moves. We'll use float today. So you just throw this, you click on the one you want, and you bring it down into your video. You want it from the very beginning. And then you're just going to drag this throughout the entire video. So it's going to go all the way to the end of the accompaniment, because that's really when the video needs to end. I'll talk about the ones up, how it's overlapping a little bit. I'll get to that here in a second. So with the backgrounds, you have different options that you can pick. You can pick circles, squares, triangles. It lets you pick the colors. When you pick the colors, you can even go into more, you can be more picky and go open your little color scheme. We're just going to stick with blue for today. Then we also want to add the title on. I usually just use the basic title. Go back. My computer's being slow, my bad. So then you'll just add the title on, if my computer will let me. All of your settings are right here. You can change the font, you can change the size, you can change the color if you want to, you can change the spacing. It's really easy to move it around too. You just click right on that, the little plus sign there. Then you can check out how it looks. There's a bunch of different options. If you look over here with the, they come with Final Cut Pro. So you can get creative with this, as well as your background and stuff. You can just make what you want. You can make it different each week. Once you start playing with Final Cut Pro, you find more tricks that you can use. So now that we have that background on there, let's start at the beginning and see what our video looks like up to this point and what it's been. What time is it? So we just put all that together within about 20 minutes. And that was only 3 voices, but it really is just that easy.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now.
So the reason that it's lagging and it looks like their voices aren't matching the video is because of the rendering. So what we'll do now, since well, let's fix the end first. Since the video is almost done, we're going to come to the ending here. Obviously, some people will send videos that are longer than others. Super easy to fix. I'm going to use my blade tool again. Go right here. You click shift. You can do them all at once. And then we're just going to cut them all the same. And delete all these. I don't know where that basic title came from. So you can actually tell it to render. So you see here, it's at 40%. It goes pretty quick. It slows down when you add more videos. We've had up to almost 16 videos, and you almost have to leave the laptop just sitting there and walk away for a little bit to let it catch up. Once it's all done rendering, then you can view your creation. I'm not sure how long it'll take to render. While it's rendering, we'll talk about what after you let it render. So if you see this button on the upper right, it's the sharing button. I usually share mine to my YouTube page, and then the church is able to download it from my YouTube page and put it into our virtual services. You can also, let's see if it gives me a different option. So I always upload to YouTube. You can upload to Vimeo. You can export the file, which will just put it onto just your computer. That way you can send it wherever you need to. You can email it. You can upload it to a Google Drive, whatever you need to do. If people are still using DVDs, you can upload it directly to a DVD. So that's still rendering. Let's see what other tricks can we talk about.
How about the little dots on the line that shows the rendering? You see on your timeline?
On this thing?
No, not there. Where just above the video strips in the
Mm-hmm.
project area. Yeah. You see those tiny little dots that they just decreased? Oh, you gotta move the background text.
Oh, we're talking about these lines?
Yeah. How that shows you also what parts are rendering right
Look
now.
at that. I learned something new today too. I didn't know that. Cool. So that makes sense now. So if we were to watch the video now, these parts should all be lined up and everything. Their voices will all match. Christine, do you have anything else that you want to add real quick?
I suppose if you really wanted to, I don't know. I mean, Amazing Grace, seemed pretty simple where things start, but
Yep.
one thing I found to be useful in trying to look at the audio and where things will line up is sometimes I have to zoom in to be able to see it better.
Mhm.
And you can do that by pressing Control plus or Control minus. That will, like, you do it a bunch of times and
Yep.
and it'll just expand it out or shrink
And
it down so you
lay
can
in
see
on
everything
them.
all at
Yep.
once.
Yeah. And that does get easier too when you're dealing with cutoffs. A lot of times with virtual singers, we're not in front of them waving our arms, so it's hard to get those precise cutoffs when they're singing alone at home. But with Final Cut Pro, you can actually just you can make it so that all the cutoffs line up, even though they're not actually cutting off all at the same time. You can line it up with what you think sounds best. I have a good example of that. Okay, good. So we're all rendered now. So what your next step would be to upload this. I'm not going to upload it today because I'm going to add a few more videos later on. But I can show an example of that cutoffs like we were just talking about in the song that we just did. It was this one for last Sunday. There was a part where there's a retard at the end, and all of a sudden, no one was cutting off at the same time. So if you're looking at this video, I had to go in each video. Let me zoom in, sorry. Each of these videos right here, I had to basically cut so that they would line up with the cutoff. So here's the cut. So it basically just made it sound like a clean, like they all cut off at the same time magically, and then all came back in. And it all sounded good, even though none of them cut off at the same time. So let's go back and do Amazing Grace. I had not been looking at the chats. Did we have any questions so far yet, Christina?
How did people record just their voice while listening to the recording?
That is a good question. We'll go back into so the video that I didn't let you guys listen to the full 4.5 minutes of it. So this video actually goes into as well how we even set that process up. Me personally, what I do is I record using my phone. and I set that up. Then I have my headphones on, plugged into my laptop. So my laptop has the accompaniment. Then I either print the music or I use it on my iPad. And so then I'm reading the music, looking at the camera, hearing the music from my computer. So you really do need to have two different devices. You can't record or you can't play the music and record from the same device. Um, so a laptop, just a little MP3 players work. Anything that you can just get the accompaniment into your ears will be fine. When we first got together with the church, I had estimated that it would take about 2 hours a hymn, and that was with four voices. So once you get the hang of it, it it starts to go by faster. Um, Obviously, that um, did not take us 20 minutes to, or it did not take us 2 hours to put those together. But I estimated about 2 hours. Also talking timeline for the singers, I try to work almost a week in advance. So I send music to them usually on like a Thursday or Friday, and then I tell them that it is due. I usually give them noon on Wednesday, so noon today, all the singers should have their videos submitted to me. Then that gives me time, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to, put them together, to, go back and visit it the next day, just get a refresh your ears, that kind of thing. So I try and give them a week. My accompanist is really good with, if I send him a piece of music, he usually gets it back to me within, with very quickly. It doesn't take him long at all. Along with accompaniments, that's really for hymns. You can find accompaniments online that you can download. You can pay for them, and that's actually easy for singers too, because then they can hear a choir singing with them in their ears, and then when you go to put them together, you're only putting them together to the accompaniment. So it makes it easier for the singers because then they hear other singers singing with them. They're not just singing a solo. But all that takes, we haven't done any of those yet with our church because we're trying to be cheap and not spend money on that uh, kind of investment.
Steve also wants to know, how frequently do you create choral hymns for worship services?
Every week. So we do at least, I submit at least 2 videos a week for virtual services.
Jake can help out with, one-on-one little helps on getting over certain hurdles. If you have someone at your church that can do this video editing for you, but he's also for hire. If you need, like, just for a month, can you just help us out? Or however it works out, you can email Jake directly to find out his hourly rate or per project rate, and if he's available. Um, so you guys can work that out separately. Deborah's asking, will you share your videos until we get this down at our church? And I'm going to jump in before you answer that one, because there is a copyright consideration there, Deborah. There's several actually. So does your church have the right streaming license for the songs that they're streaming? If your church does, then at least you have the streaming permission to use it. In addition to that, there's also the performance recording. So you will also need, if you're planning on using any of Jake's recordings, you need his permission in writing, and that could just be via email saying, yes, you can go ahead and use it.
And I can, um, of course, I can share our YouTube page that has all those videos. You can go see those videos, and then we can work with the licensing thing, one on one. If you want to email me which videos you want to use and that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. What do you use to share your video files? Do you just send them, or audio files? Do you send them via email, Google
Um,
Drive? What do you use?
so when I send them the the accompaniment, that is sent as an audio file. It's sent as an MP3. Um, then when they send it back, that's where it gets a little. you have to have an open mind and patience, because someone will send it, via Google Drive. Someone will send you just the MP4. Um, I've had somewhere they send it via something I've never even seen before, and you just gotta figure out. You can get specific with your singers. I'm I'm not specific because I want them to, you know, I want them to think it's easy, and I'll be able to do the hard stuff. So when they send the videos, I make sure that all the videos line up. All three of these videos that we had today, they worked perfectly. They lined up just how they should. They all recorded sideways on their phones, but you might have some people that do not record sideways. And that's when you got to get creative with this. So if Jody hadn't recorded sideways, her video would have just been smaller. It probably would have been right around her shoulders. And so it wouldn't match the other videos. Let me see if I can find one that. Another thing that you can have your singers do with the longer songs, um, is they don't have to get it perfect the very first time, or they don't have to get it sung perfect in one take. If you're going to sing a whole song, you know, because we're editing these videos together, you can sing verses 1 and 2, and then oops, I messed up on verse 3. So I'm just going to send verses 1 and 2 and a separate video of verse 3, and then we can edit them together so it looks like it was one video. It looks like it was done within one take. So this is the video I was looking for, just as an example of um, he did not record sideways. He recorded up and down. So when you add this video in, now this is an Amazing Grace, so we're not gonna line him up. So you see how his video now looks way different than the other ones. Even if we do the editing where we take him down 50% like we did the other videos, it's still just, it's not the same. You can crop him, but because he was so close to his face when he did it, it's going to be hard. See, it'll zoom it in right to his face. So you got to get creative with those when they send things that don't line up with the other ones, but it really is easy just to make it work.
So, what was your biggest hurdle? Can you remember when you were first figuring this all out? And how
Um,
did you
I
overcome it?
definitely would say patience, because when you send the videos, I want them back right now so that I can put this all together. Um, Another of the hurdles would be getting the singers to actually do it. Um, we at our church, we actually have scholarship singers, so our pastor was able to work a deal with them where um, you're required per your scholarship to submit these videos. If you don't submit the videos, then so we had enough singers to make it work. Then once the ball got rolling, more people got interested, and they just, if they can record that week, they record. If they can't, then they jump on next week.
Okay, so remember, you can use the recordings from other churches if your church has the proper streaming license to use it, if the performance is of that church's choir or band or whoever, and they've given written permission, and if they are not using images that are um, copyrighted. So if their background, if they purchase that background, if they purchase the accompaniment to this song instead of performing it and recording it themselves, all of those are additional licenses that your church would also have to buy in order to legally stream that recording. So keep that in mind. You can't just borrow other churches' recordings. There's still licensing issues to consider. How did you learn how to use Final Cut Pro, Jake?
uh, Honestly, just playing with it. I started with iMovie, which is, if you have a MacBook, that's what you automatically have, is you have iMovie. And then iMovie was, it couldn't add all the videos that I wanted. It can only add it up to 4 videos. So if you want to try it before even getting Final Cut Pro, use iMovie. Um, Final Cut Pro also has a 90-day trial, so you don't have to pay for Final Cut Pro up front. You can do the 90-day trial and then decide, okay, no, that's not for me. Google really does become your best friend. If you have problems, when you're editing a video, like you can't figure out why this video won't cut. I mean, I would just go to you or Google and type in Final Cut Pro how to cut video or how to um, add background, and it would pop up with a bunch of different options on YouTube as well as the Google answers.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today.
Thank
It's
you.
been incredibly informative. I use Final Cut Pro, and I never used the blade shortcut that you use, so I
Ah,
learned something too.
you taught me.
Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Remember, you can find this recording if you go to dscumc.org/worship-online. There's a little menu there for virtual choir. There you'll find everything else that we're offering. There's step-by-step articles. There's registration for the next webinar and other videos that demonstrate stuff.